isn't your typical motorsports podcast. You're listening to Crush This, a monster truck podcast presented by High Octane Coffee and J Concepts. A show where we take you inside the minds of your favorite drivers, past and present, of the monster truck industry. And now, your hosts, Brad Shaw and Dan Chichagash. Buckle in. The show starts now.
And welcome to a brand new episode of Crush This Live. Dan punching there as usual. My name is, as always, Brad Shaw, the Monster Truck Canucker, and the guy right there, punching the air, is my co-host Dan Chichagash. Dan, how's it going tonight, dude?
Oh man, it's just exciting. It's going pretty well. Actually, weather's been great the last couple days. I tell you that much. And wanted to say a shout out to all the guys at Trigger King. Jason from J Concepts was there last Sunday. Did some good racing. Made to a couple of rounds of racing and finished in the top 10 for freestyle. But you know what? I want to thank everyone, including also shout out to the Four Wheel Jamboree group for sharing our ad. That's awesome. I thank you guys. They're feedbacking on our Jamboree series, and it's still continuing on. Just one more thing. Thursday is Kurt Kramer. He's gonna be the teammate. He is the teammate of our guest for tonight. And the next guests will be Kurt Kramer, Zane and Lindsay Ratu, and then Rick Steffens of Samson. And then last but not least, Dave Rozero's in XDP, and that will be the whole group of the Jamboree series. And be on the lookout because tomorrow we are going to do an audio version of a podcast for you travel guys. And it's going to be other than Mr. King Crunch himself, Scott Stevens. So from Springland, I always can hear it from Gary Lee and Army Armstrong from Spring Lake, not Spring Lake. Woodland, Texas. And yeah, or he goes in Texas, but stationed in Indianapolis, Indiana, Scott Stevens and King Crunch. But I'm pretty excited for this one. 2 weeks ago, we did the Tim Hall, and this week we'll be doing Mark Hall. But how about you, Brad? How's the weather over there in good old Canada?
Weather's been good. It's a little bit rainy this week, but the weather's been nice. Wearing shorts every day. Always got a rep Hoonigan. Dan's rocking Ram trucks.
Oh, I was stretching my back.
He's rocking it for the podcast today. But things have been going good for me here. I wanted to thank for anybody that voted on that poster contest for me.
Talk about that. Talk about that.
I lost, but they're having me still work with them. They're still using my poster design, and I'm making another poster design for them. And let's just say the cha-ching is actually really nice for this one. So
that's good. I mean, I personally liked yours better than. No offense to the guy who won or lady who won. I don't know who you're competing against, but I mean, I thought yours was a lot more had a lot more attitude. It kind of reminded me of the Attitude Era with your poster and from the.
My idea was like doing like retro kind of like 80s theme. That was kind of my idea, and they'll be using my other poster, so I'm excited.
You have to do the one with the guys fisting going like this.
Put up your nukes. Put up your nukes.
Bully, my lad. Bully.
Put up your nukes. But we might as well get to the interview. But before we do the interview, we're gonna play the ad again for Joey Silvestra's Outlaw Monster Truck Drags. We want to support him and what he's doing with that as well. We had him on Thursday, and they're filming it.
They're filming it right now. Yeah,
they're filming it right now, and we're gonna play the little ad for that, and then we'll come back, and then we'll introduce our guests. So, guys, stay tuned. Just got to bring it up here, and here we go.
Rebellious, unconventional. A new breed of monster truck competition is coming to Fight TV June 29th. The Outlaw Monster Truck Drags. Presented by High Octane Coffee. Catch Samson, Stinger, Rap Attack, Pretty Wicked, Bad Habit, and more to battle and racing in freestyle tracks never before seen in monster truck competition. Part of a 3-show series. Who will be crowned King of the Outlaws? Download the Fight TV app today.
we always got to give our boy Joey Sylvester some love. So, by the way,
High octane coffee.
High octane coffee. By the way, if you see me eating something, I do apologize. I haven't had supper yet, so I'm snacking on Sour Patch Kids Chips Ahoy. So if you see that, I apologize. But Cheech, why don't
I don't even think they make.
I was going to say,
Before we say anything, I don't even think there's anything in America that has that. I think that's
amazing.
a Canada thing.
It's weird, but it's good. I went the wrong way. Darn it.
But anyway,
right,
I guess I could introduce my the guest here, and
it only
he's
makes
a
sense, dude.
pretty cool cat. Yeah, a multi-champion representing Ram Nation. He is the world record setting for the world's fastest monster truck at 99.1 miles an hour. Multi-champion in any form of the monster truck world, especially in the four-wheel drive Jamboree. Been racing for almost 33 years, and it's none other than Mark Hall in the Raminator, part of Hall Brothers Racing. How you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great. How about you guys?
Yeah, not too bad. Hey, you got the truck behind you. A perfect background for it, eh?
I thought that kind of worked out pretty slick, huh?
All right, yeah, cool.
Cookies. I may have to give it. I may have to give it a try though. Those sound pretty good.
Hey, I'll send you guys some. I'll send you guys some.
There you go.
So
It's gonna be pretty neat. I'm not much of a high tech guy, as anybody that knows me knows that, but this is pretty neat. This is pretty cool. I've never done anything like this before, so I appreciate you guys having me on here. It's gonna be kind of fun and a new experience for me.
Oh, thank you. We'll try our best, and we'll help promote this summer's four-wheel drive Jamboree tour that we'll be going on and doing. I think it's pretty awesome that we're going to do the whole field. And like I said earlier, like a lot of people, when they say the four-wheel drive Jamboree with monster trucks, it's either Bigfoot or the Hall brothers, either from the Executioner all the way to Raminator. And for you, Mark, how is the four-wheel drive Jamboree? What does that mean to you, the race in that series?
It's pretty cool. We've been around, we've been on that series for so many years, and had a lot of fun, and met a lot of neat people, and made a lot of friends along the way, and it's been pretty cool. I mean, drag racing, they have, the U.S. Nationals and all that sort of thing. And we have our version of that at Indianapolis, the Jamboree there. And Bloomsburg is a huge event. That's coming up. That's going to be a lot of fun. It's neat, because the summertime, man, everybody just associates, monster trucks and the Jamborees. There's no doubt about it.
And you've been competing in the Jamborees since, the early to late 90s. You were in there in the Big Boss truck and the Penda series. And, talk about, the longevity that you guys have had with the four-wheel Jamborees and being able to run with them for so many years.
It's been pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. And, we've seen, we've had so many different trucks throughout there. So it's not only been cool, racing all those years and racing with all these different competitors and guys that have moved on to other things and other forms of racing or retired or whatever. And it's cool that we're still there. But the other thing I think is pretty cool about it is how the trucks have changed over the years. Like you said, going back to the old Big Boss days, 7 inches of suspension travel and maybe 500 horsepower, and now we have these trucks that have 2,000 horsepower and 30 inches of suspension travel. So, not only is the trucks have changed, but the competition has changed. We've gone faster and faster each year. So it's been really cool. It's just been a neat experience. The whole deal of it, the whole all over the years, and it's just been a lot of fun.
And like you said, throughout the years, you've seen times change with the Jamborees and especially with the Executioner all the way to the Raminator trucks. The competition is always a must, and it's always been tough. When you're behind the wheel of your monster truck, do you try to focus every single race, not worrying about the other guy?
Hello? Is...
Hello? Are you there, Mark? Hello? Uh-oh.
Oh. We're gonna keep it going, guys.
We're gonna keep it going. Hopefully he gets back on. Let's see here. Maybe the service is bad over there at the garage.
Absolutely. You know,
There he is.
I guess
There you are.
I've always tried to, you know, Tim and I, we've always talked about ourselves. Yep, you there?
Yep.
I'm there.
We lost you for a
You
little
there?
bit.
Oh, you there?
Yep. You hear us?
I see you guys.
Let's see here.
Can you hear
Oh,
us?
yep.
Yeah.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay.
We're good.
Where were we?
I was asking
now?
about competition.
Yeah, I see you guys. Yeah, I can see
Might be
you.
a little bit of a delay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, on our own track and not. Oh, you're still there?
Yep.
Yeah, we're here.
Continue
we
on.
go.
Continue on. We're good. Yep. We're good.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we've always tried to race our own track, and you know you don't really worry about what the other guy's doing because you know you just try to get there first, and yeah, we figure if we do that, you know, the racing will take care of itself, and yeah, so we've always just kind of concentrated on racing our own race.
Now, you know, you've faced a lot of competitors in the Jamboree from like Team Bigfoot, other guys coming in, and this year there's no Bigfoot, you know, which is kind of a first. I don't even know the last time a 4-wheel Jamboree hasn't had a Bigfoot, but they're adding some other trucks. You know, you got Joy and Bad Habit, you got Zane and Lindsay with Stinger and Pretty Wicked. Talk about the lineup this year and the kind of like, are there any guys that you're like, excited to face against, or people that you know you've been wanting to drive against for a while?
All of them. I'm excited to race with all of them. I enjoy. I'm a hardcore racer, so I enjoy that part of it. And you know, everybody that's going to be there is really good. And you know, I raced with Zane last summer. We had a lot of fun at an event out in Pennsylvania. There, we had a good time there. And Rick's good. Of course, Diesel Dave, man. You know, he's always a lot of fun to race with. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to racing with all. And Joey, you know, I remember racing him, you know, a few years back, and so it'll be good to see him again there at the races and stuff, and race with him. So it's I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, as far as who I'm looking forward to racing, I'm looking forward to racing all of them.
So unlike like some monster truck teams, they always have the sponsorship and them backing them up. But the sponsorship with Ram, they're just as excited to be part of the 4-wheel Jamboree and representing us in that. How does it make you feel having Ram being just as excited as the race team?
I'm very excited. It's cool when they're behind you and they're into it. You know, we're very blessed to have them as part of our team, and it's cool that when they're excited, we're excited. You know, there's no doubt about that. So, but you know, also with that comes a little added pressure. You know, you always want to do well. And I mean, we want to do well no matter who's there or who's sponsoring the event or whatever. But yeah, so there's always that added little pressure there too that maybe we put on ourselves. But yeah, absolutely, we want to do well, and it's cool that they're excited to be part of that event and part of our team as well.
Now, one thing with this year's Jamboree is USAC is getting involved with, you know, the track and stuff like that, and you know it's under kind of a different promoter in a sense. And I'm not too sure about the tracks. Have you heard anything if the tracks are going to be, you know, the typical straight line kind of tracks, or are they doing something different this year? And I know they're adding mega trucks as well, which I think is very interesting. I don't know if you can hear us now.
Yeah.
Probably having a little bit of.
But the one,
issues
yeah,
with his internet.
that building is. I have bad service sometimes on there, so I don't know if he heard you or is he still talking.
I'm not too sure. Should I just take him off the screen for a minute?
Yeah, for a minute.
Okay.
See if he gets
Well,
back on. Sorry
hopefully
about that,
Mark-
guys. We'll yeah.
Hopefully he gets his internet figured out there. But I'm just looking at some of the comments here from our YouTube. Wade Norby Jr. He said, "Did I hear you say that there's no Bigfoot at the four-wheel drive jamborees this year?" Unfortunately, yes. I'm not too sure of the decision. You know, it seems like now the Hall Brothers team is the one that's been there the longest. But it's good to see new trucks added on. I think, you know, having Joey with Bad Habit is going to be a good, you know, kind of entertaining part. He always knows how to send it. Diesel Dave has been there for a couple of years now, and Zane and Lindsay,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll be talking to them next week, and you know, seeing what their kind of thoughts are about it is going to be.
It's just they want to start a new slate. I know a couple of people like Justin said they need more trucks. They're starting back to normal. A clean slate. This is a new group that's running the four-wheel drive jamboree, and they're gonna climb it all the way to maybe a 10-truck field. Try to go from there. So
He's still frozen.
and go from that situation. But folks, we're gonna continue on. Even if he gets back on, we'll give you the full show. It doesn't matter how long. We normally run an hour, but we'll still keep on ticking.
And you know what? Maybe we'll do this one, you know, as a special one again, and Cheech will go to Mark and do it with him.
Hold on, Brad. 6 trucks not good for 4 shows. Well, it's not. There's 2 shows. It's a different format this weekend. Yeah, June, if you can, that'd be good. See if Mark can relocate. But like I said, we're gonna keep on trucking. We're gonna fill in the show.
Yep.
So if Mark comes back, we're gonna still push it. There's no time limit technically in these Facebook stuff. We do it on ourselves, but you know, Brad's gonna keep on drinking his little drink, but we do an hour and a half. Heck, with Mike Wine, we did we do a 2.5 hour podcast episode with Mike Wine?
We went 2.5 hours with Mike, and that's one guy I want to get on here. That'd be a entertaining show. But you know.
But here's a rule. I'm sorry to interrupt you again, Brad. Let that Justin fella know that this weekend or the Jamborees, they're not 4 shows anymore. They're 2. There's like a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, and all the events except for maybe Indy. So this is the reason why they're doing this. It's financially they want to start with a basis because they're in a new program, and the last couple of years have not been good. So they're trying to start fresh and work their way up to the point where we would see the Pennis days and stuff like that. So the sky is the limit right now for this group, and this group's trying to build this back to its respectable way of being the four-wheel drive jamboree. You just gotta be patient. They're bringing mud tracks. They're gonna think about later on bringing the Class 5, Class 6 mud racers, hopefully. So I just wanted to get that off of my chest, Brad. You just have to be on the lookout for the four-wheel drive jamboree. They're just starting small. They're starting fresh. New group, new ownership. The old group, gone. So this is a new group. So we'll go from there.
One thing I wanted to quickly touch on is we've seen some footage, or not footage, but like pictures from the Outlaw Monster Truck Drags, what Joey's doing, and hey, it looks the you know the new FTI Torque wrap, you know that thing looks good. They're on a Dodge body instead of the Ford, which is very interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how. Oh, I think Mark's going to be relocating, but you know I think that's going to be an interesting event. Cheat. It's going to be interesting to see, you know, what they're going to be doing, you know, with that and how the tracks are going to lay out. You know, it's pretty going to be intense competition. Cheech, you got a question from Mike Hedman. He's asking you, will you be in Indy this year? And did you guys do the display / car crush in Monticello last week?
No, Monticello was postponed, especially with the scenario that's going on, not outside of the corona, but you know, the potential group gatherings that someone may cause a riot. You know, the definition of protesting seems to be behind the back burner now with some of these people that like to, you know, throw stuff and hurt people mentally and physically. But we didn't want any of that's hurting us, and the COVID-19 also. We don't want that going on, so they postponed it for another date. But I think I will be at Indy this year, Mike, and the lineup, if anyone wants to know, I think Cam was asking who's in this group. It's going to be Mark Hall and Ramy Nader, Kurt Kramer. This Thursday's interviewer, he's going to be in the General Tire General. Zane and Stinger, Dave Ramirez and XDP, or Extreme Diesel. And then we will have
Pretty Wicked.
Bad Habit, and then Pretty Wicked will be in 2 shows. That will be at Bloomsburg and Indy, and then replacing Pretty Wicked at Lima will be Samson. So it's going to be a good lineup. They have mud trucks there. Also, they have the really popular tough trucks. So,
and I was just going to also say, Cameron, it's under USAC now. I think USAC is the group that's heading up the motorsports at the Jamborees, so that's going to be cool.
With the help of Joey Sylvester.
Yes, with the help of Joey Sylvester, but it's USAC kind of doing a lot of that part now, and I think they made a press release about it a couple months ago and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting to see what they're going to be doing. This time in Monster Trucks is very unprecedented. Monster Jam probably not going to have events for the rest of the year. Sad to say. I was supposed to go to a show in Edmonton in end of August, maybe right around September, and who knows if that gets canceled. I don't know if Elliot and the Throwdown crew are going to cancel that one in Edmonton. That would mark, I think it'd be like my 6 or 7 year streak will be broken if I don't go to a show this year. So I'm hoping that happens.
There's some light in the end of the tunnel this weekend at Myrtle Beach. They are going to have the toughest Monster Truck Tour is going to be at Myrtle Beach this weekend. Last weekend, No Limits had a show in Montana.
Yeah.
And I guess they're doing some, I think this weekend they're doing another group of Monster Truck shows. I think All Star is doing Erie Lake.
Yep.
So Erie Lake is also going to do a Monster Truck show that weekend. That's going to be exciting. I have confirmed that Bloomsburg is a go. So Bloomsburg, that will be the weekend after July 4th, America. We are, going to be doing some racing there. So if anyone else...
I was just going to say, I was supposed to be, if everything worked out, if this shutdown didn't happen, I was supposed to be in Bloomsburg. I was going to be in Bloomsburg and for the Outlaw Drags. That was the plan.
Yeah. Hi, Corona. What's up? But we're gonna get the ball running, and Cam, you need to get your trucks together. I think his trucks are all together. I think a lot of people's trucks are all together. We're just waiting for the green light, and we will get back and rolling. It's gonna come. I think the mid-July, and everything will be back to normal. I think in August. I have my gut feeling.
That's feeling. There's only so much like stuff we can watch on YouTube, and like I said, what Joey's doing the filming with Fight TV is awesome, giving us some fresh new content to watch, and it's going to be exciting. He announced on the show before they did it publicly that Medusa was going to be the kind of host of it, and they're doing like the whole fireside thing that they've done with a couple of their other programs on Fight, like. The trash talk is real, and I think we got Mark again here.
You there?
Yeah, there we go.
All right, I went outside, see if that did any better.
Oh yeah, it's 10 times better already.
That's a lot better.
All right.
Yeah. It must be that building, Mark.
I don't know. All right.
So we were talking, I think you were I think we were talking about the competition, I believe, right, Brad?
Yeah, and just like the tracks and stuff like that, because USAC is kind of taking over with the promotion side of it with Joey Sylvester, and they're doing a lot of things different, adding mega trucks, and they've done that every now and then. But have you heard anything about like what the track layouts are going to be? Are they going to be the typical straight line, or what are they doing?
Last I heard, it was like maybe a U shape or an S course or something with a big pod in the middle. So it might be kind of cool. It's because I mean I think it'd be a little fun. It'd be something different. We'll give it a whirl. Just put whatever out there and we'll go after it. We'll do whatever we can.
Right. Now, your brother Tim mentioned about you had a BMX racing background when you were younger. How did that transition to the competitiveness of monster trucks? Did you bring anything from the BMX world to the monster truck racing?
And I've always kind of thought about that, and I think I did, to be honest, because I think that's where I learned about competition and all that sort of thing. And I remember Dad, he was big, he was hardcore on preparation and making sure everything was prepared correctly and making sure our bikes were good to go. And I think I learned a lot from doing that and just the competition side of stuff and the strategies sort of thing, if you will. I learned a lot from that, and it was pretty cool. I had a lot of fun. I did that from I was 13 till I was about 18, and we had a lot of fun, and so that's why I always, I think it's kind of cool because this is like you were saying earlier, this is our 33rd year racing, and in monster trucks, and heck, I started racing BMX when I was 13. So I think back all those years, I've done a lot of racing. That's been pretty cool, and I'm pretty proud of that.
Now, one thing that I noticed, and I talked to Tim about this, that Eyewitness documentary came on Amazon Prime, and kind of a lot of people were talking about it again. And what do you remember about that whole filming of that? Because it followed you guys, Samson, Bigfoot, some other independent teams at the time. What do you remember about that whole experience?
It was, that was really neat. It was, that was, the first time we had ever done anything like that, and it was pretty cool. I remember, I watched that again, and it was pretty neat to see Mom and Dad in it. That was a lot of fun, and going back to some of those old races, and that was always kind of cool, and it was neat because some of it I forgot about, and then you watch that again and you think, oh heck, I remember that. That was pretty cool. But yeah, I think for me the coolest part of it was seeing Mom and Dad in there. That was pretty neat, and seeing the old shop. Was kind of cool, and so yeah, it was kind of neat, and we had a lot of fun doing it. It was definitely a different experience as well.
I like a little behind the scenes story that you guys told me about how your dad took one of the camera guys fishing.
Yeah, that was pretty neat. And I got to say, the racing and everything was really cool. That was neat, and just the whole production part of that was really neat. But I think I got to be honest with you. I think my favorite part was when Dad went. He took him and went fishing, and he was talking about all the algae stuff on the water. That was kind of neat, and it was cool. It was kind of cool to go back there. I remember, like say, when it came out, and it was fun. It was fun to watch back then. But I think now it was even funner to watch again. And but yeah, that was probably the coolest thing I remember is watching Dad take that fellow going fishing.
So
he caught like a sea monster. He caught like a big old sea monster, like seaweed crap or something. That was pretty cool.
So one thing I wanted to ask you, I was watching some of the USA Motorsport stuff recently, and there was that event in Tacoma where they had the turning on top of like the container. Mm-hmm. What do you remember about that event? Like going into the arena and seeing that, were you like, how the heck is this going to happen? Were you guys like, okay, let's just do it?
Yeah, pretty much. Probably a little bit of both. Probably thinking, what the heck are we gonna do there? But yeah, then just going out and seeing how it worked. But yeah, that was interesting. That was pretty neat. USA used to do some pretty cool stuff, and that was pretty early on in our career. It was a lot. We had a lot of fun with those guys. It was pretty cool.
Tim always tells us the story about him rolling over the truck the first time on television. And you talk about how you and Woody and a couple others were getting the bulldozer body on the other truck, and he always tells a story about that, and it was it seemed like you guys got together and did a lot of stuff with USA,
yeah, we did.
and you know the tracks you always had straight line or you had obstacle course racing, and it seemed like that group of USA was like a close knit family.
It was pretty neat. Those guys were real good. Kevin Pugh and Woody and those guys. It was really cool to do those events with them and see how they did things. And like I say, we learned a lot, back in those days and stuff. But yeah, I remember that night when Tim crashed there on TV. We were back here putting the bulldozer body on there. I remember it snowed like you wouldn't believe that night. And Woody and those guys, they were bringing the body to us. And Dad and I and Mom was out here, and we were waiting on them, and I remember they got stuck right down the road, right just down the road over the railroad tracks there. They got stuck real bad. The wind, there's a house over there, and the snow blows around it real bad, and they got stuck, and Dad had to go down there on the loader and pull them out, and we ordered pizza that night. It was pretty fun. We had a good time out there. And that was the first time that I had seen that body, so it was that was pretty interesting.
So we got a question from one of our people in the chat here, from Stephen Walker. He says, "Question for Mark: Do you miss
Hey, there you go.
Do you miss any pasted crew guys?"
Yeah,
Past
there's
crew
one or
guys.
two. Yeah, there's one or two. I don't know if Steven's one of them, but but I'm just kidding. Steven did a great job. We're waiting for him to come back. We're still, the door's still open there if he wants to come back and see us, come back and work with us again. Heck, Cheech, maybe I'll take your job. I don't know.
Hey, he's the one that got me the job.
There you go.
Hey, if you want a Canadian, I'll
Yeah.
take Cheech's job.
There you go.
That looks like bye.
Steven did a good
But,
job. We miss him. We miss him a lot. He did a great job for us, and like I say, we're ready for you to come back whenever you want to come back and work with us again.
Yeah, it's like for instance, maybe talk about a little bit of this year's Monster Jam first quarter. It was we were all over the place. How was the comp? It was a unique competition group because you had the veteran drivers like you, Randy Brown, and Darren Miguez, but then you
Yep.
had the other side where you had Zach Garner or Brandon Kalusha and the younger people. So, to me as a career guy, I thought that was pretty exciting seeing the mix of all the people, and I got really excited when you got a chance to win because it's a mixing everything. Young, the experience, and your feedback of this year's first quarter.
It was really cool. I had a lot of fun there, and yeah, I think that's the it kind of sucked that it ended the way it did, with all this COVID stuff. But that was the best. I think that's the best year I've had at Monster Jam in quite a while. And we started off really good right out of the box, man. We won 2 races right off the bat. That was pretty cool that weekend. And then and it was cool racing with the young guys and Randy and Darren. That was really neat. To run with some of those guys. And I think it's kind of cool. That's one thing that I always thought was really really neat was the fact that. Here I raced with like Brandon's dad, and I raced with Zach's dad, and that's cool. And I'm still out there now. I'm racing with their kids and stuff, and that was pretty cool. It kept me young at heart, as racing with those guys, and those guys are good. There's no doubt about it. They got a very bright future in the sport, and they're gonna win a lot of races. But it's old timers, Randy and Darren and I think we were holding our own. We were doing okay against the youngsters.
Now, one thing that I asked him is when we interviewed him is you guys are kind of one of the lucky ones to have a major sponsor like Ram, like FCA. Bigfoot had Ford for many years, Monster Jam had Ford for many years, but you guys have had at Ram for a very long time, and that just shows the quality of your guys' team. And talk about the partnership and the relationship you guys have been able to have with a company like Ram Trucks and even Hotsy, because not a lot of teams are able to get big corporate sponsors like you guys can.
We've been very fortunate. There's no doubt about it. We've been very very fortunate, but one thing I always talk about is when it's one thing to work your butt off and to get a deal, But then it's like that was the easy part. Now, once you get a deal, you gotta step it up even more and work harder yet, because people don't they don't just give you a bunch of money and say go have a good time. They expect results, and they expect there's a lot more to it than just going out there and racing and having their name on the side of the truck. There's a lot goes into it, and we learned right off the bat. We learned so much about all that, and we're still learning, But yeah, it's getting a deal is tough, but that's almost the easy part. Keeping it is even harder yet.
And one thing I think I liked about that our team is outside of, let's say, like one weekend you could be at Detroit, Michigan at Ford Field. Then the next weekend you're in Madison, Wisconsin for an arena show. Then out of nowhere you're in Syracuse, New York for a racetrack, and then Atlanta, Georgia for a dealership. You have so many different spectrums with the Ram Corporation, and people may not remember. People may forget that the same truck that they saw in Detroit at Ford Field is the same exact truck you drive at Macon Speedway and Macon in Illinois.
It is cool. It's the same one you might see at a hunting show or something too. That's kind of neat too, because you see the real stuff. We have some display vehicles as well, but a lot of times at at dealerships and those events, you see the real thing. It's a real one that, like you were saying, that you see at the arenas and the stadiums and all that sort of thing, and you see how it works and all that. That's pretty neat. I think that's one thing that's pretty unique about our sport is that you don't see a lot of display stuff. It's the hardcore racing stuff, and when you get up close, maybe you see the battle scars on them a little bit, and you see where they're kind of scraped up and dinged up a little bit from just running them hard.
See, that's like one of my favorite things at displays is, it's not just a show truck. It's a truck, I did a display with somebody that used to race with you guys, Mike Miller, about a year ago, and he was up here with Bigfoot, and I ran RI with him, but you could see, that truck was in Hawaii. You could see the battle scars. You could see the wounds. And it just shows, like, we're not out here with a trailer queen. We're out here with the same truck that we raced with that we beat up on.
Yeah, and it is neat because like then you take it a step further and you think this truck here was rolled over last weekend or whatever, and the body was completely tore off, and that's why we take a lot of pride on getting them back out there and getting them looking good, making them look showroom new, for the very next weekend. So yeah, it is kind of cool that you see the real trucks and the real thing, and then to know. Like you say, you might see it on TV or whatever, and the week before the thing was completely destroyed, and then it's back out there running again. I think that's one thing that makes our sport and our crews, they work hard. There's no doubt about it. And all the crews, they work really, really hard to make them look really cool for the next weekend.
There was one story we had. Me, Mark, and a couple other guys, we were in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and Mark rolled the truck over. And the truck, the body pieces and stuff like that. That Saturday, that body was back on, but it had additional zip ties on it than anything else. But if you were up in the stands, people didn't know that the truck rolled over, and we got it back and running. And a testament to the crew, us, and also Bloomsburg in 2018 when you took that really bad spill, Mark. That they got the truck back and you won that event. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite memories from Bloomsburg. That was pretty cool that we was able to get that done. And again, I always say that we got the best crew in the business. There's no doubt about it. And our guys worked our butts off, and you do Cheech, and you know what goes on behind the scenes. And I've always said when you surround yourself with good people, good things happen. And I think I'm surrounded by a bunch of really good people, and I think that's why when you do take a tumble like that and you crash them hard, but then you're able to come back and win the event. That's pretty cool.
We got a comment here from Don Sweely Jr. He asks, "Hey Mark, what was the toughest racing series that you had to race at?"
Oh man, they've all been tough, and I guess in different ways. Well, if I had to pick one, I don't know. The Jamboree Series has been really good over the years. The Pinda Series was pretty cool. Pro MT was pretty awesome. Of course, Monster Jam's pretty awesome. So I don't know if I could pick just one. I think they were all pretty tough. In different ways maybe. But man, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know which would be the toughest because they were all tough. No doubt about it.
It's let's see here. Is there any more questions here? Let's see here.
So we're looking
Your
this
wife
up.
says hi, Mark.
Oh, there you go. Hello.
Another comment from Nicole Reese Heindel, sending love from you, Ram fam in Ohio.
There you go. Good people, good folks there. Hello, right back at you.
Comment from Mackenzie Ray said you about lit it over a couple years in Greenwood, South Carolina, doing a display / car crush.
Mm-hmm.
That's Stephen Walker's #1 fan.
Here's one thing I want to ask. So, I've been to a couple, display car crushes at tire shops or dealerships. Is that like a different feeling for you? There's a lot more safety involved with that. Talk about, setting something like that up because it's so different and unique.
It is because there's each venue is different, and so you definitely have to look at it and kind of see what the best direction to run in, that sort of thing. Where you put the fans. It's best to put the fans on one side, and obviously we don't run towards them or anything like that. And there is a lot more setup, and we you can't go wide open at an event like that because you don't have walls and things, and so we still give a good little show, good little car crush, and it's sort of sometimes we call them car crushes, and they're not freestyle events, but they're car crushes, and yeah, you definitely got to be heads up. There's no doubt about it, but you can still do it safe and have some fun with it and put on a good little show too.
Now, a lot of people may not know that outside of the there is 4 race trucks. There's other parts of the team where people can see at the dealership. For example, like the 2 picture trucks and also the ride truck. What do you say about that? The ride truck and stuff.
That's cool. I mean, it's a lot of fun, especially for somebody who's never, it's interesting to me when you're at an event or at a dealer event and somebody who's never even seen a truck before. First off, the first thing is the tires, man. Check out how big those tires are and all that sort of thing, and the noise and the sound of them and all that stuff. But then when they get to climb in there and experience a ride, that's pretty cool. They can for that few minutes there that they're riding around, they can kind of get the feeling of what we do in our world. That's kind of neat. Or with the picture trucks, they can sit up there in the driver's seat and look out there and see what we see and kind of see what we don't see. See how it is kind of difficult to see out of them and see how it's difficult to see up close, things like that. And then I think it's kind of fun for me when I think about somebody that has never experienced and they do all that. And then they see the trucks run on TV or something, and they think, "Good grief!" I sat in one of those things, and it is difficult to see out of them, or I can't imagine running the rear steering and shifting and all that sort of thing at the same time, and then to watch these guys do it, at an arena or stadium. I just can't help but think that they gotta be thinking that's really cool, and they appreciate it a little bit more.
Got a comment here from Ryan Lee Roberts. He says, "My favorite race ever is still Monster Truck Challenge from Nashville, 2008. Mopar Magic with Carl Van Horn and versus you and Raminator. Would love to hear." Wait a second, something just blocked my thing here. Would love to hear Mark's thoughts on that one. Had everybody in the crowd going crazy for that one.
It was cool. That was a really, really neat race. I enjoyed those. Those were, the MLMT series or Richie Schaefer series. They were pretty cool to race those. They always had really unique tracks and a lot of fun there. But yeah, those were pretty cool events. I remember they were just the over under kind of stuff and the big jumps and all that was kind of cool. And they were a lot of fun. And Carl and all those guys, man, they ran the wheels off them. They were hardcore racers as well. And no doubt about it, man, they ran the wheels off them.
Now, one thing we talked to our brothers at the Monster Cast was asking Dan Patrick, and we also asked Tim. And I don't think a lot of people ever ask about we're gonna go pick your brain here on memory lane here, Mark, but the Penna days, the Penna series, the Point series, the famous T&M series. As a driver, what was the expectations, the mental and physical abuse that you guys are having in those trucks, what got you preparing every single show during the Penna series?
Again, I was a hardcore racer, and I guess that was enough for me to just be mentally prepared. But I'd say, physically, the trucks they didn't ride as good as they do now. And we were going fast. You look back at those days, the trucks were still moving, and we didn't have all the safety containment seats and all that kind of stuff, and Hans devices and all that sort of thing. We didn't have any of that. So, physically, I think maybe it did beat you up. But yeah, mentally, I still prepare the same back today as I did back then. You always want to win no matter what.
So one thing I want to ask, I know we've interviewed you in the previous. So what, let's say you're going up against a guy like Dan Runte, because you guys are very equally matched drivers, top-notch equipment. What would run through your head as you're at the starting line? Would you try to play a little bit of mind games with some of the drivers, or would you okay, I'm just gonna run my own race?
I don't know that we ever played any mind games. That's one thing. It's interesting you picked Dan, because I bet it'd be interesting to know. I don't know how if we'd ever be able to tell this, but I think it'd be interesting to know how many times him and I raced together. I bet it had to have been thousands. I mean, it seemed like we was always racing each other. No, I don't know that we played any games. I think we both raced each other. I don't think any of us. I don't think we did any kind of played head games or anything like that. I think we both were hardcore racers. And we both wanted to win because, that was, the Team Bigfoot versus the Team Raminator and all that. I mean, there was all that rivalry and everything. I think we just we wanted to win, and we wanted to be sure we won, heads up, because that was when you got the win against those guys, that was you did something. I mean, they were very successful. They did a great job. They still do. And, they didn't win all those championships because they didn't know what they were doing. I mean, they definitely had a handle on things. So if you was able to get a win with those guys, against those guys, you were getting it done. That was pretty cool. So I don't know. I think we raced each other pretty safe. I don't know if anybody really played any head games. I think if I had to pick one guy, I think Gary Porter was pretty good. I think he kind of messed with you a little bit when you race him a little bit. I sort of, for whatever reason, I sort of remember I always liked racing Gary. I don't think Dan and I think we just raced each other hardcore every time. Heck, if him and I were going to go get a hot dog right now, we'd race each other pretty hard. So
it'd almost be like the Days of Thunder scene, with Tom Cruise or Cole Trickle and Rowdy Burns just bashed each other's cars. It'd be exactly like that.
Yeah, there you go. I'm serious. If him and I lined up, and we was gonna go to the concession stand, get a hot dog, it'd be like, no, you think I bet you I get there first, So just a different kind of racing. But I always liked racing Dan. He was like I say, he was a hardcore racer too, and he enjoyed the competition and all that sort of thing. And maybe we'll get together. We'll have a hot dog race sometime.
I think this is important question. And maybe this hits on a note, but as Mark Hall, what type of legacy do you want to bring on the monster truck world? When they say Mark Hall, what do you want to leave on a note? If you'll be the first one to be asking this question, so you're not going to be the only one. But yeah. I'm starting. What legacy and a mark in the monster truck world do you like to be remember as?
I think, I've been very fortunate and got to go a lot of neat places and race a lot and win a few races here and there. So, that's pretty cool. But, winning and losing, that kind of, that's neat, and that's what everybody goes for. But, I'd like to, I guess my legacy or whatever, I guess, would be, I just want people to think, he's a pretty cool guy. He's a good guy. He was good. When I saw him at the events and stuff, he always, I've always tried to come around and make sure everybody felt comfortable and felt like they were part of it. To me, that's a big deal. I like to think that we don't really have fans, we have friends. And I'd like to think that, when I'm gone or out of this deal, that somebody might think back and think, yeah, Mark, he's a pretty good guy. He talked to me here or whatever, and I sat down, we had a good conversation. I think that's kind of my thought. Is like I say, winning and losing. I've lost a lot more races than I'll ever win. So, that's cool. I'm glad about that. But I think more than anything, I think I'd just like to be remembered as a pretty good guy. Had a good time and was a hard worker and raced his butt off.
All right, Cheech, it is time for our typical questions. 10-minute warning. I'm going to call this segment the 10-minute warning. All righty, Cheech, you have your pen and paper ready?
We still have to add 10 more minutes to this also with the technical difficulties.
I screwed it up.
So.
I thought I had that cool location. I had the truck in the back.
No.
That was kind of cool, and then all of a sudden it went blank. What the heck?
No worry. They gave us some overtime. We got some overtime here, folks.
Yeah. It's
overtime.
OT. Who's going to get the game-winning goal?
Yeah.
All right, Cheech.
It's overtime.
So we've asked Mark this question.
Be right back. I need my pen and paper.
Yes.
Need my pen and paper. I'll be back.
Yes, he's gonna go grab it. So I wanted to quickly ask you, in the Penda series, you guys raced a lot of interesting guys and trucks. What do you remember about John Moore's No Problem 3? Because that truck was very interesting at the time.
It was. John's an interesting cat too. He was a cool guy. That was neat, man. It was. That was right around the time when Custer shocks and all that stuff were kind of coming around, and the 4-link suspension and all that, and everybody was kind of getting away from the big leaf springs and all that, and John had that setup, and it was very unique, and it was pretty cool. It was neat. It was different. And it worked. It worked pretty good. He was able to run pretty strong with that. So John was like I say, that truck was pretty unique, and John was a pretty cool cat too.
All right, so Cheech, do you have on there what Mark has answered in previous for these questions? Do you have in there what? Because we've asked you these before, I think.
Uh-oh.
They're not bad
we
ones.
Asked him.
They're the typical
We asked him favorite pie, and he answered apple.
So is your favorite pie still apple, or has it changed since then?
I don't know. I'm probably a peanut butter pie kind of guy. That's pretty good stuff.
Wow, that's three in a row.
Yeah, isn't that peanut butter stuff? My mom used to make that stuff. It's pretty good. The peanut butter. I think it was called peanut butter pie. I think it's pretty tasty stuff.
So who's all answered peanut butter pie now, Cheech?
Well, I mean, it started with JR.
Yeah,
and
so
then
J.R. McNeil,
Joey, and then Joey and Mark. That's 3 in a row. Our last 3 guests have answered peanut butter pie.
Hey, there you go.
That's a good one.
Do you like it with chocolate? Do you like it with chocolate also, peanut butter chocolate pie?
It's pie, man. You can't, anything you put on there is good.
Okay, so.
Okay, so
chocolate.
Question number 2. And Philip and Christian Norman.
Oh yeah.
You know the Norman brothers, and this one's been a staple of our podcast.
Okay.
Are you a fan of eggnog, or do you hate eggnog?
I don't like eggnog.
Yes.
That's bad stuff. Can't stand it.
Suck it, Norman brothers. Suck it.
Yeah.
We are in the lead by 1 point. We are in the lead by 1
Finally,
point. 25-24. 25-24 right now.
We need to rub it in those guys' faces.
That's why Christian didn't last long enough at Hall Brothers Racing.
Chocolate shakes. I think everybody at Hall Brothers Racing is a chocolate shake kind of fan, not an eggnog guy.
I'll tell you what. This is one thing I know about Mark is when we're at a show and we're eating dinner and Mark says, I'm wanting a shake, he'll find a place that sells milkshake around that town and we'll go there and get some milkshakes. That's a promise right there.
Absolutely.
Yep. It's great.
Okay.
Awesome stuff. Okay. Here's my personal question, Mark. I asked Tim this, and I asked Christian and Phil this, and I always I short-lived knowing Ron Bachman, but is there any Ron Bachman stories that you have, and what did you feel about that guy? Because I always thought he was an awesome guy.
He was massive, great big fella. He was cool. Ron was a neat guy, and just he'd been around the sport forever. That's probably he'd been everywhere, all around the world. And he was the first display guy. And it just seemed like he was just always always a nice guy. You know, I mean, you sit down and he always had a cool story and talk about the old days and stuff. And Ron was he was a cool cat and just a neat, likable guy. You know, I don't, it was cool to be around him. You know, he just gave off a cool, he gave off a cool vibe. You know, it was pretty cool. He's just a good guy.
So here's another questions we always ask, and this comes to the days of Jeff Richards and Monster Truck Radio, and do not get you blacklisted from any rental companies. But do you have any kind of interesting or funny rental car stories that you've heard or have been a part of?
No, about the only rental car story I've had is let's see, I guess it's been two years ago. It was in Austin, Texas. It was a Monster Jam, and I remember we went to dinner. I had my rental car, and I come up and I parked behind the hauler, and they had that temporary fence stuff, you know, that like they put around like a job site or whatever. They had that kind of, because we was out in the pit area, and they had this temporary fence going all around the cold pit area. And I parked there, and I was the only guy that parked in that line. And then that night, a big storm blew that whole fence down, and smashed up my rental car. Just something fierce. Busted, like broke the windshield, scratched up the side stuff. And of course, then when you take it back and you tell that story, you know, they think you was out, you know, they think you did it, you know. But so that's my only rental car story, and it's not even really that cool one. But it did get tore up, but I did not do it. The wind did that and tore it down.
I remember that, and it was crazy. You know, the storm itself was pretty bad. It was pretty crazy itself. Let's see here. You let's do. A lot of people are talking about right now. A lot of comments.
Oh, there's one from Mike Hedman. Says, just don't do a car crush / display in the rain on Halloween. LOL, Vault.
I know what he's talking about. Yeah, I know what he's talking about. We did a car crush. It was pouring down rain. And I was doing my thing, and I was being pretty cool. And I think I stopped on the cars. And that's one thing I learned. You know, never stop. When you get done, don't stop on the car, especially in a driving rainstorm. And I got stuck on there. And him and I was out there. We were lifting, using jack, lifting tires. Putting transport tires underneath of it to get it. We were both soaked when we got done. I know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Got a comment from Larry Hatter. Favorite four-wheel jamboree moment. This is a good one.
Favorite probably the first one when I was 13 years old. Went to the old Marion County Fairgrounds in Indianapolis, and like I say, I was 13. And I remember looking at the trucks and stuff, and they had the Monster Corral back in those days, and we walked through there, and it was pretty cool. But then I saw Steve Combs driving around a Night Stalker, the original Night Stalker. Remember that old truck, the red and the kind of the maroon and black one? Really cool, neat truck. And I remember seeing that drive around, and I just thought that was a cool. I mean, he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't like crushing cars or driving faster. It was just moving around. And I thought, man, look at that. That is the coolest thing ever. Look at it. It was just the way it was driving around, and the wheels were turned, the rear wheels were steering, and all that stuff. I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And I think, honestly, from that day on, that's when I was hooked, man. I thought that's what I want to do. That's pretty cool stuff.
Now, I have to ask you about the tank. You know, everyone likes to know about the tank and stuff like that. But do you remember, you know, how you felt the first time doing a show with that tank?
That was pretty neat. We had no idea what we were doing, other than I remember when we got it all together. Rev Prochnow, he was the first promoter that we ran for. And I remember we was trying to get, we had this thing pretty much done. And I remember he called and Tim was calling. We was trying to get shows and nobody had ever heard of us, or anything. And anyway, I remember him telling us, he said, you ever ran that thing before? And of course we told him, heck yeah, we ran it. Oh, absolutely. We've done all kinds of car crushes with it. And we had never even ran it, at the time. But so we got some old junk cars and put them out behind the shed there. And went out there and did our first car crush out back here and thought, okay, all right, we crushed the cars. It was successful. It got hot on us real bad. We figured out what we can do there, and then we went after it. But yeah, it was pretty wild. And I think our very first event was back in Macon Speedway. I think that was the very first event we did with it. It's pretty neat. We were out there, like I say, we really didn't have any clue as what we were doing. We were just learning as we go. and that was a lot of fun.
So, as a graphic designer, you guys have had a lot of my favorite looking trucks. What has been one of your favorite looking design trucks that you've been able to run in the past few years?
I'd say that the maroon Raminator paint scheme, that was kind of cool. It had I don't know what year that was, but it had kind of like it was kind of a maroon color, and it had like behind the graphics, it was like I don't know, like a circuit board or something behind it. I think that was kind of my favorite one. It was cool looking, and it just that body style I don't know. I think the way we had the fenders cut and stuff, that was one of my favorite ones. I thought it looked cool, and for whatever reason, I can't really explain why, but I always thought it looked funny car like or something. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, and it's also during your time racing and stuff like that. What any of your favorite places? Any place that you always like to go to?
I don't know. That's a good question too. Like I say, we've been very blessed to get to go to a lot of places. I don't know. That was kind of neat. I think probably going way back, probably one of my favorite places was the Pontiac Silverdome. I thought that was a neat place to race just because my dad, was a motorcycle announcer and a tractor pull announcer and stuff. And I remember going there. We went there to watch an event one time, and Dad was announcing, and I was a little kid back then, and I remember we were going to go down on the floor to see him, and he wasn't. I wasn't old enough to get on the floor, and they stopped me right at the bottom of the steps and said, hey, sorry, man, you're just not old enough to be down there. And so Mom had to take me back up in the seats there. But so that's kind of neat. And then then all those years later to go back there and get to race there was pretty neat. And then that's where we debuted Raminator too. So that was. I don't know. I guess I guess if I had to pick something, that's a pretty cool. That was a pretty cool place.
Now, one thing Tim mentioned, with the partnership with Dodge at the time and now Ram, you guys have been able to do a lot of cool things with some of the other athletes or drivers that are sponsored by the same company, like like Ron Capps or back in the day Gary Selzy and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any like fun, like any kind of moments with some of the? Because I'm a huge NHRA guy. Do you have any moments that you've kind of events that you guys have done with the NHRA guys?
Absolutely. I remember, it was Atlanta Dragway one time. We did a display down there for a Ram dealer, and Pro Stock guy.
Alan Johnson.
Alan Johnson, yep, he was there, and that was cool because we're hardcore drag racing fans too, and he was there, and I remember he wanted to drive the Raminator really, really bad, and so we let him drive the ride truck, and I told him, I said, hey, what about the payback? Do I get to drive the Pro Stock car? But I was still waiting on that deal, and he never has got back to me on that. So anyway, maybe that. But hey, but one of the coolest things I've ever got to do, with other Ram guys is years ago, I think 2009 maybe, something like that. I think they had a duel in the desert, and it was pretty neat. All of Dodge drivers and stuff went out there, and we raced Vipers at the road course at Miller Motorsport Park. I don't even know if that's still there anymore. But anyway, we went out there and raced on the road course, and that was pretty neat. I went out there and I, again, didn't really have a clue as to what I was doing. But they set a Viper up for me, and I went racing, and I mean the who's who of Dodge was at the time was there. Kurt Busch was there, Brad Kozlowski, and Sam Hornish, and Robbie Gordon. All those guys were out there, and Alan Johnson was there, and Alan. I thought he's a straight line guy, man. I should be able to, kind of hold my own with him, but then I found out he did some truck racing stuff, the truck series or something. So, so anyway, but I thought, it'd be cool if I could just go there and really, since I have no idea what I was doing, I thought if I can just go there and not get in the way, then I considered myself, that I did a good job, and I did, and I quickly learned why those guys do what they do, and why I do what I do, because I didn't have a clue as to what I was doing, but it was fun, and it was really cool, and we had a lot of fun doing that, and that's kind of a highlight of my Dodge Ram career is to be there and race with those guys. That was pretty neat.
It's always a good thing. I mean, it's pretty cool also with the Ram Corporation, like in doing state fairs. It's pretty crazy doing how many, I don't know how many car crashes you did at the Michigan State Fair, but fans like you said get the chance to see like you at Ford Field or later that summer doing car crashes at the Michigan State Fair.
Yeah, it was neat, and that's the fairs have always, to me, they've always had kind of a special place, because that's where we cut our teeth, was doing the county fairs and the state fairs and all that sort of thing back in the old days, back when we first started, and so it's always kind of neat to go back to the fair, and the fairs haven't changed much over the years. I hope we get to do some this year, and I'm looking forward to that. But you go to the fair, you gotta get a corn dog and some onion rings or fries or something, that good healthy fair food, that's good stuff.
So
One more thing, Brad. Brad, one more thing. I was gonna tell him a fun fact. Robert Lee Roberts was saying that you have competed in every venue in the Memphis area. That's
Yeah.
what he just said.
Oh heck
So
yeah!
you must like Memphis.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, go to the old Mid South Coliseum. Yeah, that was pretty neat. That was a pretty cool old building, and FedEx Forum and all those. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's a neat. Of course, Memphis. That's a pretty cool place too. So that's neat. We had a good time there.
So one thing I just thought of that we've never done on Crush This, I want to play a little word association game with you. So
All
I'll
right.
say a driver's name or somebody in the sport, and you give me the first thought that pops into your mind.
Okay. All right. Here we go.
Andy Brass.
Wildfoot.
Let's go Dennis Anderson.
Gravedigger.
Let's go Rich Schaefer.
Drag racer.
Cheech
Rich
Yavin.
Schaefer. Richie Schaefer. Yeah. He's a drag racing guy.
Yep, yep. All right, I got a tough one, Mark.
NHRA. There you
Tim
go.
Hall.
Huh?
Yeah.
My brother.
Tim Hall.
My brother.
Um, the Penda series.
Hardcore racing.
uh, yeah, that's the same. I hear that train right now at my house. Let's see.
That was miles
Huh? Fred Schaefer.
away. Barefoot, man. Fred was he a cool cat or what? Now you talk about somebody that's a hardcore racer. There you go. He was hardcore.
Everett Jasmer.
USA One. Everett is a cool guy. I liked Everett. He was a neat guy. I learned a lot from Everett.
Marty Garza.
John. Oh, yeah.
Overkill. Heck yeah.
John Seasock.
John Cena. I remember Batman. Back in the old days. He's been around forever. I wonder what he's doing now. I remember
We just had him on a.
when they won the finals and all that stuff. He was driving Batman back then, right?
Yep. He also drove Sudden Impact and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I knew
Let's see.
that name. That's why I went with Batman. I knew he was driving. I couldn't think of Sudden Impact.
Okay, here's one. John Force.
Oh, there you go. NHRA hardcore world champ.
One of my favorites.
What's
Don Schumacher.
That's several words, isn't it?
Yeah. Don Schumacher.
Racer, hardcore racer.
Here's my last one. Tom Mentz.
Maximum Instruction. Good guy. I like Tom.
All right, and
All he did was give the names of the trucks. That wasn't cool.
okay, my last one, Steve Macklin.
Steve Macklin, Iceman. I remember, funny story about Steve, real quick. I remember, I don't know why I think this is funny, but I remember I was doing a display for Mopar at Route 66 one time, and he was there. I hadn't talked to Steve in quite a while, and he was there, and he was doing the clutch for somebody, I don't remember, it wasn't maybe an alcohol team or something. Anyway, he's doing the clutch, and he came by, and we just picked up. Like I said, I hadn't talked to him in quite a while, and I remember we just started talking, and we just kind of picked up right where we had left off. And he said, "Well, come by and stop by the pits." And I said, "All right, I will. That'd be cool." I said, "Well, I'll come by later this afternoon." I said, "Where are you guys at?" And he said, "Well," if you start walking He said, you start walking to the edge of the property. He said, if you walk, just keep walking. Just go that way and just keep walking. He said, if you step off the property, you went about 2 inches too far. So apparently his pit area, I never made it over there, but his pit area was way, way over there. And I don't know, I thought that was funny when he was telling me that.
My last one, Brad. My last one for Mark. Okay, Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh, pride and joy. You know,
there we go. Oh,
I'm a hardcore fan. Absolutely. Yeah. Pride and joy.
My favorite.
I got him.
My favorite video is they were doing. I think Hey Little Sister. I think, and he breaks a string, and it's a seamless guitar change. It's insane. I'm just like, that dude it's so smooth on the guitar.
He was awesome. In fact, I got a replica #1. You know, that's pretty cool. I got a replica #1, his #1 guitar there that, cause I suck at playing guitar, but, I'm more of a guitar collector than I am player, but yeah, I finally got me a Stevie Ray Vaughan, #1 guitar. That's pretty cool.
And I got him the book for his birthday, called Texas Flood. If anyone gets a chance to get a book, get that book. It's actually pretty good. I think it's kind of towards his last of his career, but there's a lot of numerous stuff.
I'm reading it right now. It's a good book, and I'm not just telling you that. I am reading it.
Well, hey, if you guys are going to be getting another book, might as well go get Marty Garza's book, Monster Truck Technology: The Definitive History. Go get that. Gotta plug that. Gotta show love to Marty. So, gotta show love to the people that support us.
Yeah. But he like Christian's a good loves drums, and Brad loves drums. Mark loves guitars. So we had to talk a little bit about music. He's a huge Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, a huge Aerosmith fan too. Mark was a huge Aerosmith fan.
That's right. When we're working in the shop and Aerosmith comes on, it's like all work stops. You gotta stop and you crank it out.
That's like me when Tom Sawyer comes on. Because as soon as Tom Sawyer comes on, I have to air drum. I love Rush. I can't help it.
Yeah.
You know, it's awesome to know about that. But what got you to fall in love with the guitar there, Mark?
I don't know. Back in the old days, I always wanted to be a rock star. And I thought that'd be kind of cool, and I had, I know it's gonna be hard to believe, but back in the old days when I had hair, I had cool hair, I had the rock star hair, but I never had any talent. That was the one thing I could never overcome there. I had cool hair, I had a cool guitar, but no talent. So, but I still enjoyed it, and I was, who, in high school and stuff, who didn't like, Van Halen and all that, and Eruption, and you used to act like you're talking about air drum, and who didn't air guitar to Eruption and stuff like that. So, but I don't know, I've always just liked the guitar and thought it was pretty cool, but like I said, I kind of suck at it, and I'm not very good, but I make some good noise though. I'm a good noise maker.
Well, Mark, we want to thank you for coming on Crush This Live tonight and talking about the four-wheel jamboree and a lot of other stuff. Sorry that you have to work with Cheech. Just kidding, I love you, Cheech. I gotta give Cheech crap. Right. I gotta give him crap.
Yeah.
Cheech does a good job for us. Good guy. He works his butt off. He's a good guy. He does a good job.
Hey, I did ask Tim this. When is Cheech gonna get his butt into his seat? Come on.
Oh, watch out. He'll take my job, man. He may be better than me, and he'll take my job.
I'll stick to...
When he moves the truck there, he puts his backpack on there and climbs in there, and that puts him up where he needs to be.
Well, I do have to say one thing, and a lot of people don't get it, but during the pit parties, Mark always sits next to Brandon and Zach doing interviews. And I'm the only guy, I've seen it, I'm the only crew guy that when I'm moving Mark or Kurt's truck, I'm the only one that waves to people. And they always, and so, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I always try to find where you guys are at, so I move the truck. Even if the truck's supposed to go to the left and they're on the right, I will go right.
There you go.
I just wave, and they wave back. They wave back at me like, "Hey!" I'm like, "Oh," and I just drive the truck around. But yeah, it's that book bag's fun.
He's got the waving part. He got that.
I think Chi-Chi's new nickname is Book Bag.
Yeah.
That book bag helps me a lot. It's also it's a good pouch to put my headset on in there.
There you go.
Different stuff, and I just go there and you know just get ready for the show. But I always enjoyed it. Seeing them up in the crowd, doesn't matter which way. I just wave and they wave back. So it's all good. It's enjoyable, but I still thank Mark and Tim for the opportunity working with them. It's been past 10 years, 2 years with you guys since 2018. So time flies right now. It just seemed like yesterday I joined you guys after Mini, but you know what? We'll keep on pushing on during the COVID since this COVID-19 thing is, and I'm honestly excited to get back in the ride truck gig and drive that thing around. That's a sharp piece right now in the shop that no one has seen yet. That ride truck right now. So, and I know you have the itch right now, Mark, to get back behind the wheel of your girl and race that truck.
Yeah, we got it. We're chomping at the bit to get going again, and hopefully we're moving in that direction, and sooner than later we'll be back racing again and getting after it. I can't wait.
All right, Cheech, I'll let you in this one, my friend.
Okay. All right. Let people know. Thank you again to all our sponsors and people that have helped us out. High Octane Coffee. Look at Joey's league that's coming up, the Outlaw Thunder Drags, Outlaw Drags on Flight TV. At the end of the program, we'll show one more of that commercial. J Concepts, JB Scale Graphics, 6B Apparel. JB Scale is supposed to be there, but that will be added on by Brad here. Back Channel Productions, that Nick Davis, he'll be there at the 4-Wheel Drive Jamboree, and he'll be filming the whole show. And Marty Garza on the Monster Technology book, thank you so much for all you have done. Thursday will be, he's typing it in right now. Thursday will be the teammate of Mark Hall, Kirk Kramer, and the General Tire General will be on live. Also, if you have any questions for Scott Stevens, if you want asked, we'll go ahead and ask him. We're doing an audio version for the podcast, audio-wise, tomorrow with Scott Stevens and the King Crunch Machine. But once again, also want to thank Ram and Hotsy. They also viewing this too, and the 4-Wheel Drive Jamboree people. Thank you, the Bonnier and all them for doing this. But it's been a great time, and Mark, I'll see you probably tomorrow at work.
And
I'll try. I won't know because tomorrow's donut day, so I gotta go get donuts.
That's right. Okay, you can be a few minutes late. You can be a few minutes late. Make sure you get the ones that look like monster truck tires.
And
French crawlers.
Make sure you get him his chocolate shake too.
All right. Yeah. There you go.
Yep. I'll put that on the note for June to pick up for lunch.
There you go.
Well, no, we're grilling out tomorrow, so during work, so it's gonna be a good time anyway. So, once again, Mark, thank you for being on. Like I said, even with the technical difficulties of the service, we'll still get the full hour on with you, and let the fans connect with you and stuff like that. So,
appreciate it.
Thank you for being on.
Appreciate it. Fun. That was fun.
Awesome. Well, I'm Dan Chichegosh. That's Mark Hall. That's Brad Shaw. Brad always says keep the tire side down and the shiny side up. And we will say peace and bye. Wait, one more thing is I did not forget about the J.R. McNeil question when he won his first racing title at the Mount Pleasant. I had a talk with J Concepts. The giveaway still going on. I was just letting a little bit more people answer. That still answered the original post. I was trying to get more people to answer. That's why I'm kind of delaying it a little bit. But if anything, I'll do a Facebook video tomorrow and the winner of the J Concept T-shirt thing. So be on the lookout for that. The question's still going on. Find the original post and answer it. What year J.R. McNeil and Exterminator won the Mount Pleasant race for toughest the Throwdown Tour. So anyway, I'm Dan Agosh. That's Brad Shaw. Hey, that's Mark Hall. This is Crush This, a Monster Truck podcast. Good night.
And playing right away is the Outlaw ad, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Peace, guys.
Rebellious, unconventional. A new breed of monster truck competition is coming to Fight TV June 29th. The Outlaw Monster Truck Trends. Presented by High Octane Coffee. Catch Samson, Stinger, Rap Attack, Pretty Wicked, Bad Habit, and more to battle and racing in freestyle tracks never before seen in monster truck competition. Part of a 3-show series. Who will be crowned King of the Outlaws? Download the Fight TV app today.